We are here with a familiar face to many, Eloise Vitelli. Hello, Eloise. How are you?
Good morning, Corey. I'm fine. It's a beautiful
Uh,
sunny day.
Beautiful sunny day, and thanks for taking the time. I know how busy it is, especially this time of year. So like I started at the top of every video, we do the same 5 questions with all the candidates, but we'll also probably go off on some tangents because I just can't help myself. But yeah, starting quite simply, what district are you running for, and where does that cover?
Well, I'm running for District 24, which covers the same territory, that is all of Sagadahoc County and the town of Dresden in Lincoln County that I currently represent. The only thing that changed about my district in the redistricting process was the number. I am
Yeah,
currently representing District 23. It's going to become known as District 24, but it's the same district.
yeah. Yeah, there's not a ton of redistricting. You have one of the easier districts because it really
Yes.
didn't change besides the number. Same thing with like the bathhousing. But yeah, yours is the Senate side. That's important for people to know as well. And always you, this will be, are we heading into fourth term if you get elected?
Yes, this will be my fourth term.
Yeah,
I served half of a previous term.
that's right.
Um,
Yeah.
so all told, I have served so far 7 years in the state Senate.
Well, that's great. That's great. Um, Question number 2. Tell us a little bit about your background and why you're running for office.
Great. Well, I spent most of my career working on behalf of Maine families, helping people go back to school, start small businesses, get jobs, manage their finances. And so it seemed a natural progression to take my advocacy for those individuals and those opportunities to the State House. When I first ran, it was to fill a vacant seat. It was in a special election, and I found that I could be effective in advocating for the issues that I care about, Maine people, Maine's economy, as a state senator. So I've continued to do that and have enjoyed representing this district in particular over these last 6 years. So that's why I'm running again for my fourth and final term.
Love it. Love it. Uh, Question 3. What are the 3 top issues affecting Mainers right now that you will look forward to working on if elected?
Yes. Well, the first issue that I've been engaged in for a while now is housing.
Yeah.
There's a housing shortage in this area and in the state, actually, sort of nationally. We're struggling to make sure we have enough housing for people in the right places. And so that's something that I look forward to continuing to work on both at a local level and at a statewide level in terms of any policies we may need to adapt and adjust to make sure that we have available housing. In particular, what's important in this area is housing for that sort of the middle tier. So affordable housing means housing that people who are working in this area can afford to live in. We've been hearing from employers in particular that without adequate housing for the people they want to hire, they can't hire, they can't grow their businesses. So, and I know this is an issue, in other areas of the state as well, but it's definitely something that we need to continue to work on. So that's one issue that's big. A companion issue to that, not surprisingly, is workforce issues and worker issues. Businesses through the pandemic have experienced sort of a shift in their available workforce. Individuals have reconsidered their career paths, if you will. So there's been a real sort of transition in our workforce, and so we need to make sure that people have access to the kinds of training that they need for the jobs that they want and that employers need them for. So one area in particular that's getting much more attention today than in the past is perhaps jobs in the trades.
Yeah.
So, all the crafts that we think of, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, the building trades, but others as well were in need of those kinds of skilled workers. So that's one area that we need to continue to focus on. And then I would say the third, and this has become particularly important over the course of this summer is energy. We need to make sure that people can afford to heat their homes,
Yeah.
fuel their cars, their trucks, their boats, so that they can do the work that is necessary to drive our economy. Now, there's lots of forces that have come into play that have influenced the high cost of gas and oil in particular, that the state can't do very much about, but there are some other things that we can do to make sure that as we transition to what's known as beneficial electrification, in other words, if we move towards greener, cleaner fuel sources, we need to make sure that the benefits of those new fuels, new energy sources, are evenly available to people throughout the state, and that the costs are shared equitably as well. So that's a whole nother area that is going to be important to continue to work on.
Eloise, those are all fantastic. I mean, they're near and dear to some of the things we're doing at the chamber. I think you raise. I don't want anyone to miss the point about the housing where you need the middle class housing. The example that I use with people is if God forbid our house burned down tomorrow, my wife and I, we're clear, with Alex, our son, we're clearly in the middle class, and so if our house burned down tomorrow and we got a check, we would be looking for a house between 250 and 375, somewhere in there would be our range. If there's no inventory at that range, I can't go higher than that. So what would we do? We would probably buy a house that's 125 to 150 and then put $100,000 into it. But for the family that can only afford 125,000 to 150, they're never going to be able to outbid me to get that house. So what chance do they have of getting an affordable house if there's nothing at our level? So we kind of need it at all different kinds of levels. It can't just be this and it can't just be that. It's got to be kind of all of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And yeah. So anyway, sorry, that's my little, if you could help me down from the soapbox now. Question 4, if voters could only know 2 things about you before they fill out their ballot, what would those 2 things be?
Well, this is something I've been saying to people as I go door to door throughout my communities, and it's sort of a bedrock of how I feel about why I'm doing this work, and that is that I can stand up and put myself forward as a Senate candidate because I know that I'm part of a community of people who care about each other and take care of each other. These are disturbing times, perhaps troubling times. There's a lot of change going on. There's a lot that's challenged us all, not the least of which is the pandemic of these last 2 years. But at the bottom, what I see and what I experience every day is that we are a people that take care of each other. And that's really important to me to remember and to make sure that other people remember as well. Whether it's participating in the food pantry or going to visit your neighbor to make sure that they have enough fuel, volunteer to drive people. I mean, there's just so much caring, and that's what I want to stand for, because that's what I think the people I represent stand for, and that's what's going to get us into a brighter future than we are experiencing today, perhaps.
I love that. I love that. It's so before we got a snowblower, I used to hand shovel our driveway, and there was a couple of people, so a couple of guys with plows that would just plow out the end of the driveway for me. They don't know me from anyone. They just saw me out there shoveling and just said, "Hey, let me give you a hand for a second." Like, that's the kind of communities that I want to live in and be a part of.
Yeah, we're all in this together. And when we come together and work to support each other, that's when each of us can thrive best. So I want to be a part of that.
Well, and there isn't a way for you to say this, so I'll say it for you. That's kind of what you've done, in the terms that you've served, is you've always tried to work with everybody at the legislature, across the aisles, in the committees, to just try to find the best answer. I mean, you've really lived that. So, and I know you're too humble to say that yourself, so I will say that one for you.
Oh, thank you.
Anything that we didn't cover, anything that you want to hit on I mean, yes, there's 1,000 other issues as well, but anything in particular that you said, hey, I don't want this video to go by without mentioning this or that?
Well, yes, I want to just say that our small businesses, and that includes our lobster fishermen, our oyster farmers to our Main Street businesses to our service industries to the people that are creating businesses out of their homes. Those are all part of the real fabric of our community, and that's what I've devoted my life to trying to support and um, make sure that that energy, that creative energy, stays fresh and it gets the support they need, because that's sort of who we are as a people. And um, I'm just always inspired by the willingness of people to take that step, to take that risk and start a business.
But it's what makes us unique, and
Yeah.
it differentiates us. I love that. Last question, Eloise. Very simple. What is the best way for people to connect with you or find out more about you as a candidate?
Mhm. Well, I have a website
Yes.
and I have a presence on social media. Um, so people should feel free to go to eloisevitelli.com and see what they can learn about me there. They can also give me a call. One of the things I love about this season is I get to go out and talk to people directly, and that's always the best in my view. So they can give me a call at my home office number, which is 443-4660.
Beautiful.
And
And
email.
we'll post the website and the Facebook page in the description of the video. So for those that are watching the video that didn't catch that, it's just Eloise's name, but still, I will put it in the description. Eloise, lovely to talk to you as always. Thank you, my friend, for making the time.
Thanks, Corey. Good to see you.
All right.